Tony Blair 1997-2007. Tony Blair, a prominent figure in British politics, embarked on his political journey as a Member of Parliament for Sedgefield in 1983. Quickly rising through the ranks of the Labour Party, Blair demonstrated his leadership abilities and progressive vision. He became the party's leader in 1994, succeeding John Smith, and set the stage for a significant transformation within the Labour Party. Blair's charismatic and modern approach marked a departure from traditional Labour values, earning him the moniker of a New Labour leader. The late 1990s were a crucial period for British politics, marked by a desire for change and modernization. The Conservative Party, led by John Major, had faced public discontent due to economic challenges, scandals, and an overall weariness after almost 2 decades in power. Against this backdrop, Tony Blair and the Labour Party presented a compelling alternative. The British electorate sought a departure from the status quo and was ready for a leader who could bring about much-needed reform. Tony Blair's ascent within the Labour Party was marked by a combination of charisma, strategic acumen, and a commitment to modernize the party. Born on May 6, 1953, in Edinburgh, Blair attended the Fettes College and later studied law at St. John's College, Oxford. His early experiences as a barrister and his time as a Member of Parliament for Sedgefield since 1983 laid the foundation for his political rise. Blair's leadership qualities quickly became apparent, and he was elected as the Labour Party leader in 1994, succeeding John Smith after his untimely death. As leader, Blair sought to redefine the Labour Party's image, moving it away from its traditional socialist roots. His New Labour movement aimed to modernize the party, making it more appealing to a broader spectrum of voters. Blair's journey to the 1997 election was shaped by several key political experiences. The Labour Party had suffered consecutive defeats in the 1980s and early 1990s, and Blair was determined to rebrand and reposition the party to win back public trust. One crucial moment was the death of Labour leader John Smith in 1994, leading to Blair's election as the new leader. His ability to unite the party and present a fresh vision for Labour played a pivotal role in shaping its future. Blair's political skill was evident in his ability to navigate the internal dynamics of the Labour Party, balancing the interests of traditionalists and modernizers. Additionally, he carefully crafted a centrist platform that resonated with a broader electorate, focusing on issues such as education, healthcare, and job creation. The late 20th century in the UK was characterized by significant political and social changes. The Conservative Party, under the leadership of Margaret Thatcher and later John Major, had dominated British politics since the late 1970s. Thatcher's market-oriented reforms, known as Thatcherism, had reshaped the economic landscape but also generated controversy and social unrest. As the 1990s unfolded, dissatisfaction with the Conservatives grew. Economic challenges, scandals, and divisions within the party created an opportunity for a new political force to emerge. The public was eager for change, and Blair's New Labour presented a modern, inclusive alternative. The political climate of the late 1990s thus set the stage for Tony Blair to lead Labour to a landslide victory in the 1997 general election, signaling a seismic shift in British politics. The 1997 general election marked a historic moment in British politics as Tony Blair and the Labour Party secured a landslide victory, ending almost 2 decades of Conservative rule. On May 1, 1997, Blair led Labour to win 418 seats in the House of Commons, securing a majority of 179 seats. This resounding triumph was fueled by a combination of factors, including public disillusionment with the Conservative government, a desire for change, and Blair's dynamic leadership. Blair's victory in 1997 not only made him the youngest Prime Minister since Lord Liverpool in 1812 but also signaled a significant shift in the political landscape. The British electorate, weary of the Conservative Party's tenure, embraced Blair's vision for a new Britain and his promises of modernisation and social reform. Central to Tony Blair's political ideology was the concept of New Labour, a movement aimed at redefining the party's identity and policies. Blair recognized the need to distance Labour from its traditional socialist roots and embrace a more centrist and pragmatic approach. New Labour represented a break from the party's past, signaling a commitment to economic efficiency, social justice, and individual aspiration. Blair's New Labour movement sought to reconcile the party's historic values with the realities of a rapidly changing world. By adopting a more market-friendly stance, Blair aimed to appeal to a broader range of voters, including those traditionally aligned with the Conservative Party. This strategic shift not only contributed to the success of the 1997 election but also set the stage for a decade of policy changes and modernization. One of the central pillars of Tony Blair's leadership was the modernization of the British economy. Upon assuming office in 1997, Blair inherited an economy that had undergone significant changes under the preceding Conservative governments. However, he sought to build on those foundations by introducing a series of reforms aimed at fostering a dynamic and competitive economic environment. Blair's approach to economic modernization involved embracing market-oriented policies while maintaining a commitment to social justice. The government pursued measures to enhance efficiency, promote innovation, and attract foreign investment. Notable initiatives included deregulation, privatization of certain industries, and efforts to simplify the tax system. The goal was to create an environment that encouraged business growth, entrepreneurship, and international competitiveness. A key focus of Blair's economic agenda was job creation and ensuring economic stability. The government implemented policies to reduce unemployment and create opportunities for the workforce. Initiatives such as the New Deal program targeted young people and the long-term unemployed, providing training and support to enhance employability. Blair's commitment to economic stability was reflected in the management of public finances. Chancellor of the Exchequer Gordon Brown, under Blair's leadership, implemented a policy of fiscal discipline. The government prioritized prudent financial management, aiming to reduce budget deficits and maintain a stable macroeconomic environment. This emphasis on stability contributed to a prolonged period of economic growth during Blair's tenure, fostering a sense of confidence in the business community and among investors. The partnership between Tony Blair and Chancellor of the Exchequer Gordon Brown was a crucial factor in the success of New Labour's economic policies. Gordon Brown played a pivotal role in shaping and implementing the government's economic agenda. The relationship between the Prime Minister and the Chancellor was characterized by a division of responsibilities that played to each leader's strengths. Gordon Brown, a respected economist, was given significant autonomy in managing the economy. His prudence with a purpose approach emphasized careful fiscal management, maintaining low inflation, and reducing public debt. The establishment of the Bank of England's independence in setting interest rates was another key policy that contributed to economic stability. While Blair and Brown collaborated on broader economic goals, including social investment and poverty reduction, there were occasional tensions between them. Nevertheless, their partnership was instrumental in delivering a period of sustained economic growth and low unemployment, solidifying New Labour's reputation for economic competence. One of Tony Blair's landmark achievements in social reform was the introduction of the minimum wage. Before 1999, the UK did not have a statutory minimum wage, leading to concerns about low pay and worker exploitation. Blair's government addressed this issue by implementing the National Minimum Wage, NMW, on April 1, 1999. The introduction of the minimum wage was a significant step toward ensuring fair pay and improving the living standards of low-income workers. The policy aimed to strike a balance between protecting workers and avoiding negative impacts on employment levels. By setting a baseline for wages, Blair sought to address income inequality and create a more equitable society. Tony Blair's commitment to improving education was evident in a series of reforms aimed at raising standards and ensuring excellence in schools. The government focused on increasing investment in education, expanding access to quality education, and fostering innovation in teaching methods. Blair's administration introduced literacy and numeracy hours in primary schools, emphasizing foundational skills. The government also invested in school infrastructure, aiming to create a conducive learning environment. Additionally, measures such as the Education Maintenance Allowance, EMA, were implemented to support students from low-income backgrounds in pursuing further education. The push for excellence extended to the higher education sector, with increased funding for universities and the expansion of student financial support. Blair's government aimed to make higher education more accessible and to equip students with the skills necessary for a rapidly changing global economy. Healthcare was another focal point for social reform under Tony Blair's leadership. with a particular emphasis on modernizing the National Health Service, NHS. The government increased funding for healthcare, addressing long-standing issues such as waiting times and outdated facilities. Blair's administration introduced the NHS Plan in 2000, outlining a comprehensive strategy for the modernization of the healthcare system. The plan aimed to reduce waiting times for surgeries and consultations, increase the number of medical professionals, and enhance the overall efficiency of the NHS. Investment in new technologies and improved management practices were key components of the modernization efforts. Additionally, the government expanded access to healthcare services, focusing on preventive measures and public health initiatives. The introduction of measures such as free breast cancer screening for older women and the establishment of NHS walk-in centers exemplified the commitment to enhancing healthcare accessibility and quality. Tony Blair's tenure as Prime Minister from 1997 to 2007 saw him actively involved in shaping international affairs, with a particular focus on the Middle East. Blair sought to position the United Kingdom as a global player and took on diplomatic roles in addressing regional conflicts and promoting peace initiatives. One of the most defining moments in Blair's foreign policy involvement was his role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He engaged in diplomatic efforts to broker peace between Israel and Palestine, working alongside other world leaders to find a resolution to the long-standing conflict. Blair's involvement continued beyond his term as Prime Minister, as he took on the role of Quartet representative to the Middle East, representing the United Nations, the European Union, the United States, and Russia in efforts to facilitate peace. Blair's foreign policy decisions included interventions in Kosovo and Sierra Leone, both driven by a commitment to humanitarian intervention and the prevention of mass atrocities. Kosovo Intervention, 1999. In response to the ethnic cleansing and human rights abuses perpetrated by the Milosevic regime in Kosovo, Blair, along with other NATO leaders, authorized military intervention. The NATO airstrikes aimed to halt the violence and protect the Kosovar Albanian population. The intervention was a controversial move, but Blair argued that it was necessary to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe. Sierra Leone Intervention, 2000. In Sierra Leone, Blair's government deployed British troops as part of an international effort to restore peace and stability in the midst of a brutal civil war. The intervention sought to support the government of Sierra Leone against rebel forces and contribute to the disarmament and demobilization of combatants. The UK's involvement in Sierra Leone reflected Blair's commitment to addressing conflicts with a humanitarian dimension. Blair's relationship with the United States, particularly with President Bill Clinton and later President George W. Bush, was a defining aspect of his foreign policy. Blair emphasized the special relationship between the UK and the US, underlining the historical, cultural, and diplomatic ties that bind the two nations. Kosovo and Iraq. Blair supported the U.S. in the NATO intervention in Kosovo, and later, he played a crucial role in building international support for the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. The decision to join the Iraq War was a highly controversial move, and Blair faced criticism both domestically and internationally for his alignment with the Bush administration. Post-9/11's cooperation. The relationship between Blair and the U.S. deepened after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Blair pledged support for the U.S. in the global fight against terrorism, emphasizing the need for a united front in addressing security challenges. While the special relationship bolstered the UK's global influence, Blair's close alignment with the U.S. also generated significant domestic opposition, particularly concerning the Iraq War. The decision to join military interventions and the aftermath of these conflicts shaped Blair's foreign policy legacy and sparked debates about the role of the UK in international affairs. Blair's second term in office witnessed a growing wave of public dissatisfaction and protests, with a range of issues contributing to the discontent. The Iraq War, as mentioned earlier, was a major factor driving public disapproval. Large-scale protests, including the historic anti-Iraq war demonstrations in 2003, saw hundreds of thousands of people taking to the streets in the UK to voice their opposition to the war. Other factors contributing to public dissatisfaction included concerns about civil liberties and the erosion of privacy due to the government's counter-terrorism measures. The introduction of tuition fees for higher education also sparked protests and criticism, particularly among students and young people. The combination of these factors led to a decline in Blair's popularity ratings and an increasing sense of disillusionment among sections of the public. While Blair secured a third consecutive election victory in 2005, the diminished public support and the controversies surrounding his leadership were indicative of the challenges faced during his later years in office. The lasting impact of Tony Blair's transformative decade is a subject of ongoing debate and analysis. Despite the controversies, Blair's leadership reshaped the political landscape, marking a departure from traditional labor values and embracing a more centrist, business-friendly agenda. The New Labour movement not only secured electoral success but also influenced subsequent leaders and the evolution of the Labour Party. Blair's legacy is one of contrasts. Economic prosperity and social reforms juxtaposed with the contentious decision to engage in military intervention in Iraq. The enduring effects of his leadership can be seen in the continued relevance of policies implemented during his tenure, as well as in the persistent debates over the role of the UK in global affairs. Ultimately, the legacy of Tony Blair's leadership extends beyond his time in office, shaping the trajectory of the Labour Party and contributing to the ongoing discourse on the complexities of governance, foreign policy, and the intersection of ideology and pragmatism in modern politics. The transformative decade under Blair's leadership remains a significant chapter in the narrative of British political history, marked by both achievements and controversies that continue to resonate today. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.